everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Dr. Matt Dickinson. If you've been following me for the past year, you'll know that I've been doing a lot on exoskeletons, looking at different types of designs using softwares and doing a little bit of combination of everything, which remains always exoskeleton focused. And if you have been following me any further than that, or been involved in some of this stuff, you will know that it's now official. Let me just squeeze myself down a little bit. It's now official. We are now Exogames 2024, 5th of August to the 9th of August. This year is held at ASTM headquarters in Philadelphia. It's going to be insane. It's going to be exciting. If you've not seen this yet, do get on the website, take a look. If you've not signed up for it, sign up today. It's going to be absolutely crazy what's going to happen. There's going to be so many things going on. Overall, if you are a sponsor and you're interested in being a sponsor for the whole event, do check here. All the links to ASTM COE is here. Location all noted here. Awards, everything here clearly noted, and the spec. You'll find everything on here. But if you've not done already, do reach out and get involved. It's super exciting. The student chapter, the UClan student chapter, I do know I've already met and I've already discussed about this. So do get involved. It's going to be super exciting to see what happens. Right, so let's get back to what we come here for. You'll know that I've been chasing Hardiman. You'll know that we've been talking about Hardiman. We've produced an overall design so far, which gives us roughly, let me quickly show this, gives us this design. Now, as we spin it round, you can see, if you remember, this section here is the section that's a real question, which is this section here. Now you'll notice that this, now we know for sure, looking at the overall images of what we've got, that the actual thing itself is not a singleized assembly, but perhaps multiple. Because if we quickly zoom this in, you look here, there is clearly gaps between it, and here the gap here is much closer. And my point is this is not one piece. This is another piece that sits on a single axis rotation. So in other words, we need to edit this piece. This needs to be changed. So what I'm going to do is we're now going to move this over and change it across. So first things first, let's just hide some of this down. I'm going to make it so it's all visible again. Make it quickly visible. So let's make it so I can actually see what's going on. And then what I'm going to do is open up the actual part. We're going to get into a rough estimate of where things need to be, and then we are going to call it a day at that. Tell you, we're trying to be good and not rabbit on too much in these key particular videos. So, right, so let's come it across, and then now I'm just thinking here about how am I going to actually separate this out. And I'm just going to bring this down, and right, let's bring that to there, and I'm going to cut that to here. I'm looking to simply oh, excuse me, I'm looking to simply cut and remove this section out completely. For anybody who's been following me up on Hardiman and looking at where we've found with Hardiman, so far we've not had much luck. The army have been extremely approachable, so helpful, sadly, but they don't believe that they have, as we now know it as the relic, which sounds really cool, but they do firmly believe that they don't have the actual relic, which is an absolute shame, really. But we never give in. It's going to appear at some point. So what I've done now is I've just cut that area. It does need tidying up a bit, but I've cut that area because I'm now pretty sure that this is a separate piece that actually swings in its own right. So what I'm going to do then is bring it across and then look again. So if I close this off, we can now see that saves in that key particular way. Now, if I just span it back across again, you'll notice here, if we just zoom it in, you can actually see his hand. You can actually see his hand across, so his hand is just inside of the box. It's just inside. There's a few things that we know, that the box needs to be bigger, it's not quite right, but you can see his hand is at a twist. So my point is, This needs to be cut back and needs to be changed. So let's do that. So I'm going to open up the box. And what I'm going to do first is the top section of this needs to be edited to actually get a bit more space into it. So what I'll do is quickly model onto there. And I'm now going to tab onto here and then tab across. And then cut right the way through, and let's just go through all. We'll go through all in this case. Let's just have a quick look across. I'm just going to cut it. Apologies if you can hear yelping. It is my dog. She is desperate for attention today. Right. What I'll do is, just for completion on this, I don't know this for sure, and I've got to operate to some level of degree here. So I'll just put a fillet onto there. There's no way anything would have been left sharp. We know that for a fact. No way anything would have been left sharp. Now, if I just quickly bring this back, I'm going to close that off. Now, I don't know how much everybody's done on the videos about with in assembly things before, but what we'll do is we will do this within the part. The trouble is when you do it on the outside, so I'll accept this, when you do it on the outside, it becomes quite tricky because you can't see where everything's meant to be and where initial parts are going to be. And so if I just cut across and then come over across here, come across here, and then I'm just gonna bring it in across like this. Now remember the actuator was here. Now what I'd like to do is I'm just going to borrow some geometry. So I'm going to borrow geometry from my center axis. I don't want this to become a problem though, so I'm going to delete that axis there to ensure that it now becomes its own piece. But what I'll do is anchor it. I know a lot of people say don't anchor, and in this case I'm actually, the only reason what I'm actually doing here is I'm going to make that construction just so it becomes a reference and nothing more. So what I'll do on that point now is bring this in and I'm going to tab it out to just give me some type of clearance. Now you've got to remember, if this was going to be printed, which in this example will end up being printed, we're going to actually assume this to be, where is it, 21. So I'll go to 20.5. And what that'll do is just give me that little bit of a clearance. Again, I am guessing with that, and I know a lot of people are like, do you really want to be guessing? And the truth is, no, I don't really. But we've got to be able to get some type of aspect to this. So I'm using here, now if you've ever used Inventor before, you will know that this is the new solid piece. I use Inventor quite a bit just because I do quite like it. I've nothing against SolidWorks or anything like that, but I do quite like Inventor, and I like a lot of what Autodesk do in these particular products. So I am quite the fanboy, let's say. Second, so bring that in. Now I want to just match against it. I could check the actual extrusion, but in this case, you see there, it's one. So I'm going 174. I'm going 174. It's probably 175, but it's just going to give me a perspective of where this is going to sit. Now, what I would now like to do is come back across again, come to the same spot, and I just need a connector. But I need this now to be as true to the actual aspect of what I'm thinking about. So, now it's interesting. This one, the famous one of Moshe. So let's bring this in. Come over here. Open this up. See here, look at that. I noticed this is what got me on this, by the way. So this is the high definition one. Look at that. See that? That, key point there, key point there. That for me is where the unit is actually engaging. So, bring this back. Get up across, and that essentially means here to here is where it comes across. So what I'll do in this case is use this as a key point reference, and in fact let's just bring that out. I need something for it to grip to. So let's bring it out. I'm going to have to dimension this because this is going to change. Again, this is just me fleshing out what really needs to be sitting. So then if I click onto here, and then click OK, and then snap that in across here, and to something like there. Now you see there, I've still nabbed that out, so I'll just bring that to there and snap you into that like that. Okay, so again, I'm then going to follow this aspect and bring this across. Now this is where it's going to get nasty, really messy if I don't get this wrong. So you see this point here, that is where our projected point of access is going to be. So I need to ensure that anything that I actually add to this complements that position. If I get this wrong, it will just not work. It just won't work. And we don't need this. You know, we've had enough of battling through this design as it is. So bring us to here. And granted, I'm starting to look and think, you know what, that's not quite right. But we do need a point of start. We do need to know where we're starting from, if you will, because at the minute we don't know. So I'm just going to bring this back in a little bit. Now you'll know I'm still on the 174, so let's go 150. Oh my days, not 150. I'm just going to dab that back in even further. Right, I want to try and get to this edge. So what I'll do is, as I'll say, take me to this surface. And let's go OK on there. And then what I'll do, just to build on the actual same principle, is I'm just going to click make the sketch visible. I'm going to do the same thing again under the same sketch, however, to get to this surface over here. So I want to go to this surface and then click OK. And now what we've got, if I just tab you off, is we have a bit of a understanding as to where that thing. Now this would be super heavy. So I know for sure that this has probably been cut out in its processes, if you will. So, for example, if we assume, and I know what some, if anybody knows me, they'll be thinking, yeah, we all know what happens with assumption. It is the mother of all mistakes. But the trouble is we don't know for sure what it is that we're actually taking with this. Now you see where it's not actually working. Now this is a nice one that I wanted to actually show you guys. See where it's not working and it's going, I don't know what I'm cutting. You know why? Because it's saying, right, what's solid? So if I go that solid, it goes, okay, I can cut that, but look at that. This is purely happening because earlier I needed to make that a separate solid to this. This was because it wasn't quite connected. So if I now go to combine, I've got to take you, and then combine you all together. Now what we actually have is we have a consistent surface which will allow us to now cut everything away. So I'll go you, and I'll go subtraction. No, that's solid. You see that? You see there? It's only gone one solid. It's just because I've only updated that. So what I'll do is pan this out like that, and I'll take it to 100. This is going to change. Whoops. This is definitely going to change. However, it's going to give us a bit of a perspective of how this thing was functioning, because learning the process of what we're doing here to actually design this as if it never existed, or working on the very limited information that we have about the famous hardiman, or as some of us are now calling it, the Bigfoot, the exoskeleton Bigfoot. Right. Today's the noisiest day in my house. It's unbelievable. Okay, so if I bring this right back. Right. Okay, so I'm now just going to update the design. And let's just get you. Are you visible? Are you movable? Right. See with these mates, it's going. These mates don't exist and these mates don't exist. They don't, but we don't care because they were wrong. So let's pan that out, bring it onto here, and then I'm just going to, that does remain grounded, which is freaking awesome. But what we really want now is we want this piece and this piece to have a swivel relationship. This is the bit where I love about Inventor. It allows you to do these really, really sexy pieces. Right. So Dun, 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 dun. Right, so if we spin this back round, and let's get back to some other images. So we get over here. You don't really see much on this, but that's from the famous arm test, which we are trying, and I say trying very carefully, to recreate. Because if we look here, tilt down, we've got a tilt down. We've got the arm is at a strange angle, which is cool. So it supports the idea that it was a separate piece. So over here we've got the tilt. It's actually tilted here and slightly down. So let's recreate that if we can. So that's huge. You see where that tilt is there? That is huge. In fact, let me just bring this across. So that tilt is there. That is huge. But what I'll do here is I'll just tap it in. Something like that. As I said, this is a separate part. Finally, let's look at the famous one, the standing one, or as some called it. Look here, larger gap. Brings across, tip it over, just onto this edge. Okay. Boys and girls, I think we have an answer. Phenomenal. Let me save that. Always good to save once you're actually happy with what you've got. Okay, so that is an update on the Hardiman. I will be trying to make little bits of changes here and there, and I will be now leaning heavily onto my project students who are doing some of this work as well, who we are going to be working together to fix this. Now, some of you who are very eagle-eyed will have noticed this. Spin this round. Oh, that's penetration. They call it penetration. Basically, the material's going through the part. That needs fixing. That's not a big fix. That's not a hard thing to do, though. So that's why I'm not like, oh no, we need to fix it. So if I turn this back on, and we now look at that, look at that, look at that. We now, boys and girls, we have. I'm pretty sure we've got the claw. We've got the front section. I'm going to recreate this on my version, just because I do believe that needs fixing. And also, what I'll perhaps do on the one that I printed, I'll probably cut out this section with a saw to try and see if that actually solves that problem as well. Okay, so and some people were asking me on an update on the open exoskeleton curl, as we've called it. So this is curl, and give you some updates. So originally, when putting this thing on, it was taking a long time for people to get it on. So straps through the left shoulder blade and right shoulder blade, and these are elastics. So you put it on like a backpack. This then straps onto the back. And originally we used Picatinny rails to allow to configure where the clips went. The trouble is a lot of people didn't want to move the Picatinny rails. They were happy with the position. So it's like, right, okay, cool. However, once you get it on, you've got to put your arms through. We had to strap people on, and it took a long time to get it on. So this is a new approach, and this is the delay. So apologies if anybody's been waiting for this to appear. This is the delay. So this is the new design. Now this is the forearm. Now if I just pop into the actual new design here and open this up, this is nothing sophisticated. However, this uses split pins, and it simply slides in and out. So you slide it in, split pin straight down, and that's it. No messing, no fiddling, no 20 gazillion trillion straps. All good, all sorted. So apologies if anybody's been waiting to see this. The only reason I've held on to it for the moment is it's still not been quite right, and I don't want to put anything out that looks a little bit naff. So as soon as this is ready, this will go out. And this week we should, in theory, we should be running some of the first tests on the curl, because the lab that I've been building is now just finished and up and ready. So that's super exciting. But yes, once this is properly finished, I will upload this, and you're welcome to download until your heart's content. And then finally, the the workshop assisted lower limb exoskeleton version 2, which the Masters Group students completed at UCLan last year. This is one that is low cost and is a workshop assisted. Basically, it's a lower limb chairless chair. The new version of this will be appearing soon, and we will be doing some fresh testing. If you are a student and you're interested in wanting to know more about that, do reach out and get involved. Other than that, that's today's bit of an overview of the weekly catch-up as far as exoskeletons go. We've took a look at Hardiman, we've took a look at the curl, and I've also introduced you to Wally, the workshop assisted lower limb exoskeleton. All these are going on, and all these are happening, and all these are physically built. As you know, Hardiman is still ongoing, and we are still desperately looking to try and find what happened to Hardiman. If you are somebody who's opened this up and gone, well, I know what happened, do reach out, let me know. It's super exciting. And if you are interested in exoskeletons, you are interested and want to know more about exoskeletons, why not download the excellent Exo chat and just take a look at and listen to Bill and Nora just discussing about exoskeletons. Other than that, my name's Dr. Matt Dickinson. We've just done some exoskeleton cool stuff. The software I've been using today is Autodesk Inventor Professional 2024. I also do SolidWorks. I'm also quite proficient in simulation, so ANSYS and MATLAB. But yes, today's been that, and then hopefully this coming week we should be doing a video live from the lab. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope this was worthwhile watching. Thanks, guys.